What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It's October 4th, 2021. This is your Fightful post-Raw show. We're joined by Denise Salcedo. Denise, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here as always.
We've drafted you to the Raw brand. You're not going anywhere.
Man, was I even in a pool? I didn't even get an announcement or anything that I was being drafted.
You got drafted to Impact too, but
I've been drafted to Impact.
Yeah, that's a good point. Guys, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, tap that bell for notifications, donate a super chat. It gets your question or statement read on the air here at youtube.com/Fightful. Can't tell you how important it is to us that you subscribe. We dropped an interview today with MSK. Denise did as well, so make sure you check out hers as well. But got a bunch of cool interviews coming up this week. Last week, we dropped Selena De La Renta, Alicia Atout, Alex Shelley, EC3, and JC ahead of Free the Narrative. And we're always breaking news over on FightfulSelect.com, including probably the most shocking draft pick of the night, Gable Steveson. We broke that news over on FightfulSelect.com. We also have news on where Tessa Blanchard is signing, if you're into that sort of thing. We've already got super chats. Anakin says, Sean, can you give Denise some dribbling pointers? Well, normally I would say no because I'm not that good at dribbling, but I think in this case, yes, I could probably give Denise some advice.
Hold on. Dribbling. I have a gimmick now. I just realized it because I've posted videos of me playing baseball, football, and basketball. I am the worst sports player ever, the non-athletic.
Have I seen the baseball one?
The baseball one was the one where I was at Knott's and I was playing that game where I threw a baseball. You saw it. I remember that you saw it.
I gotta make sure.
Yeah, I don't remember what the caption was, but you saw it. I just remember that. But anyway, so that's my new gimmick. I'm bad at all sports, so the non-athletic right here.
Oh man, I'm doing a I want to do a series where I check items off my bucket list, and one of the items on my bucket list is go back to the little league fields that I played on and hit a home run out of them as a fully grown adult. And I just know, Denise, that when I go, I ain't going to be able to clear those fences.
Sean.
I think that period of time has passed. It's a comedy series, Denise.
Yeah, okay, because I was thinking about doing a summer bucket list video where I do, again, something similar where I do my bucket list items, but my items were things that I've always wanted to do, but I'm too scared, like skydiving, jumping off a bridge, something like that. Not full
I wasn't
on, not going to my little league park.
I wasn't too scared. I was just on Ritalin, and I didn't grow until I was 18 or 19.
I know, but the difference in between what you would like to do and what I want to do.
I want to see Denise.
Extreme.
I want to see Denise do a kickflip. Sean Blanford says now we just need Denise on a hockey rink. Have you ever ice skated before?
I have actually. I'm not bad. I'm pretty good at rollerblading too and ice skating.
I'd be terrible.
I'm not terrible at that.
I feel like I'd be bad at all of them. I was always bad at turning and stuff on any of that. And I've never ice skated before in my life. I
can speed too. I can go at a fast speed.
We got Oblivious Kyrie saying, I thought Sonya was a step McMahon. She does it so well. I think she and Adam Pearce are a couple of the best authority figures we've seen. They're very good with the draft stuff, I thought.
I have to disagree. I'm not that fond of them. I'm sorry. I thought a lot of the storylines that they've given them have made them look not that great. And I thought they were okay for the draft thing. I actually prefer Stephanie.
My God. Well, Intangible One Cliff Beard says, can we get Denise and Kate to live stream Bound for Glory? I think they'd make a great heel tag team like Fightful's Dirty Dogs. Well, Denise, it's not going to be Bound for Glory.
No, it's not.
But have you announced it yet?
No, I haven't actually.
Do you want to?
Yeah, go for it. Wait, am I doing it or am I doing it? Or you do
it? You do it.
You do it?
You do
okay.
It.
Kate and I are doing a show on Saturday. We're doing the Knockouts Knockdown show, so it'll be really fun. So not Bound for Glory, but close. I won't be doing the Bound for Glory post show. I'm gonna be at GCW. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be doing that one. I'm not sure. If not, it'll be somebody else. I think we pay Jeremy.
Are you going to be at Bound for Glory?
No, I'm not going out there. No,
oh.
One Vegas trip a year is enough for me. I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Sean.
Yeah, I'm good.
You need to live it up.
Nikhail Bisnath said, did not watch Raw. KO get drafted or AEW bound? He got drafted. We'll let you know all this stuff. Don't worry. Don't worry. Nerd Guru says, all I'm going to say is Kevin Steen is all elite. Get these super chats in, guys. We want to hear what you guys think of the draft and what you guys think of a whole lot of stuff. But Matt Ray Keel says, thought some huge news story broke today with Facebook and Instagram crashing. How about those Bengals, Denise?
What about the Bengals?
They won again. But
how do I care? I don't care.
You seem to care last Thursday.
I just like to talk smack, Sean. Whenever I can talk smack, I'm there.
We've got more draft thoughts from KE775. Says, what's up with Dakota Kai? Is she going back to NXT? Is it a foregone conclusion? Sasha's winning at Crown Jewel. I don't think any result is a foregone conclusion, Denise. I wouldn't doubt WWE is like, oh no, we'll keep the titles switched. That way we can have the women on both shows because it's Becky and Charlotte. Why wouldn't they want that? Yeah, I think they would do that. I think they would do that.
I thought it was an obvious. To me, I see two options. One, you have Sasha Banks winning at Crown Jewel, or two, you swap the belts, which I would not be fond of, especially with the women's championship belts. I would not be stoked about that. So yeah, that's the way that I see things. I hope they do not do like a flip, back and forth thing. I don't know. Would it help? I don't like the idea though. I like things to go with where they belong.
Switching the belts are going to be so ridiculous. Now, I want to preface this, guys. If your question is, why wasn't Asuka drafted? Why wasn't Eva Marie drafted? Why wasn't Elias drafted? Why wasn't anybody drafted? They weren't in the draft pools. That's just straight up that they weren't in the draft pools. They're injured. They're out of action. They're sidelined. I've got an extended list that will be going up on FightfulSelect.com of people who were not in the draft pools. But
Sean, you cannot get upset at people who ask because it's not like we were made aware of who was in what pool ahead of time. Like I felt dumb on Friday tweeting what the hell happened to Becky Lynch. And we all knew.
I tweet about it 6 times though. And then they ask on the very tweet where I say they're not in the draft pools. Yes, I can get frustrated with it.
Yes, but then they should tell us who's in the draft pool so we won't be looking silly and you won't be having to get the same question 50,000 times.
I don't disagree. It would have eliminated some of the surprise of some of this stuff, though, including Gable Steveson, who we broke the news of on FightfulSelect.com. He was drafted to, I believe, Raw. But Ken Shearer says, isn't Steveson finishing NAACP stuff? You mean NCAA stuff? That's a different thing. Yes, he is, but that won't carry him all the way through next year even. Is this to hold people's attention or am I misremembering? It is to hold people's attention. There are no real, I don't know if there's any real benefit of doing this besides keeping
publicity.
Yeah, that's really about it.
When you posted that tweet about saying that before you posted on Fightful Select, you posted a tweet saying that somebody out of left field is going to be drafted. I knew right away that it was going to be him. I was like, they're going to do it, but they're going to do it for publicity. And then shortly thereafter, I saw your post and I was like, haha, I was right. I knew it. I now know what goes on in Vince's head.
Yes, indeed. Bezo Banks says, I can't remember. When do these picks take effect? Oh, I wish they would have mentioned this a million times. Denise, I really wish that they would just say, hey, the brand split is null and void until this point, because you had people popping up on each show. The Dirty Dogs showed up and they didn't even get drafted, Denise.
Dude, I'm sorry, Sean, but I have a really bad memory. But come October 22nd, I am going to be like, I didn't even remember this person was drafted. I don't even remember who was drafted. Like, unless you're a big star, I'm not going to remember whether or not you were drafted and where you were drafted to. I'm sorry. But like for me, it's something that I know I'm going to forget, like by the time these drafts actually take effect, because we still got like 2 weeks, man. I think even more than that. We got 3 weeks till the 22nd.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. Cliff Beard says Becky and Flair are going to trade the titles. I hope not. That would be so lame. It was lame the first time. Rafael Garcia says, super chat, it's because I had WWE Raw and NAACP on my bingo card as 2 terms that would be mentioned together on this show. Well, this was a show. It did happen. Orlando Orrego says, night 2 picks were interesting. Shocked to hear Gable Steveson for Raw. Were you shocked to hear that as well? Yeah, but before I broke the news on Fightful Select.
Oh, well, no. The second I saw your left field tweet, I knew that it was going to be him. And then once I saw your Fightful, yeah, I just told you, Sean. I literally just told you that I
can't be arsed to pay attention.
Why am I on this show then?
So as I think about
Hold on. Do the people not see what's happening here? I literally just said this, and Sean's like, I'm done. Sean, continue on. Why do you even ask me my thoughts?
You are so not done. You are so the opposite of done. But let's talk about the draft and who went where. So as we go through this, you guys are free to send super chats about it because we will continue to talk about it more. Becky Lynch, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, AJ and Omos, Kevin Owens, Street Profits, Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Gable Steveson. The ones who moved to Raw are Becky, Seth, Owens, Street Profits, Balor, Carmella, Gable. That is pretty substantial. Like that is like Olympic gold medalists, former world champions, current world champions, former tag champions, former NXT champions. Like there are some real big names moving over to WWE Raw, and they needed it. They needed some help, I thought.
Yeah, they definitely did. I think that right now Raw is looking pretty good. I think they're both looking pretty good, but I think that for some reason, not for some reason, but I was expecting for SmackDown to feel like a little bit of a more obvious of like, oh, all the stars are on here. But I think that they actually did a pretty good job of balancing it out and making both sides look pretty fairly on par with one another. And like, I haven't like literally like looked at everything like side by side, but just like based off the top of my memory of everybody who was drafted, the rosters right now feel pretty even in terms of like star power and quality of, talents that they have on the show.
If you guys go to Fightful.com, we have a wrestling section and a resources section within that where we are updating these rosters as we can, as we get information on who goes where and what changes. We're going to update that. We have a Raw section, SmackDown section, and an unassigned section as well. But Sean Blanford says, looking at the post-draft rosters, SmackDown's main event scene is looking really weak. Who do you think will be next in line after Brock and Drew for Roman Reigns? Raw clearly won this year. Well, if they send Drew over there after he lost all those title matches, after he lost the U.S. title scene matches, after he loses to Big E, and he doesn't get heated back up, Denise, it's going to die a death. Nobody's going to give a damn about him and Reigns if they do that.
Like, that's the thing about Drew McIntyre is that he always has who he is because he's just, Drew McIntyre. And I feel like he's sort of already established himself, as being a top guy. And that's always going to be there. But they really did hurt him a lot. You mentioned some of those things already. But on top of that, you had the very, very, I don't want to say annoying, but terrible promos where they were having him do the history lessons, which we've talked about extensively on this program. And then you also have him in matches against Shanky and Veer. That necessarily doesn't do much either. So it's like they really got to build him back up. They got to do so much more with Drew McIntyre to kind of get him back to that level of likability where like everyone is sort of like on the same page with Drew McIntyre. I mean, he was one of the guys that was like most over when he won the Royal Rumble. Like, do you remember that reaction that he got? And now it's like, well, now it's just Drew McIntyre. They need to get some of that star power back on him.
Joel Pearl lets us know that Liv Morgan is on Raw. She will never escape Carmella ever.
Right about that. Dang.
Nerd Guru says, not sure what they have for Gable, but my pitch is MVP returns with some Hurt Business expansion with Bearcat Lee and Gable Steveson. I guess we'll see. MVP also not drafted. Again, I'll have a full list of people on the roster that were not in the draft pools on FightfulSelect.com probably tomorrow. I'm going to have a bunch of draft news. I'm going to be up all night talking to people about this draft and finding out what I can find out, because there are some interesting names that you guys are just kind of overlooked that probably should be in there. Alicia Ellis, our good friend, says interested to see Finn and AJ interact. Their impromptu match years ago is one of my faves. I wish WWE would lean into the type of stuff AEW does, like playing off of real life, like Finn and AJ cutting a promo, and Finn's like, you couldn't even keep our friends here. Like, you couldn't even like save their jobs. Like, you're worthless. Like, I want to see some realism to that.
I did see Finn Balor already tweeted AJ Styles, so that was a nice little tease there.
Yes. So let's talk about who went to SmackDown. We got Sasha and the Usos, Nakamura and Rick Boogs, Sheamus, Shayna Baszler, Xia Li, Viking Raiders, Ricochet, Humberto and Garza, Cesaro, Ridge Holland, and Sami Zayn. So let's take a look at who they gained. They gained Sheamus, Shayna Baszler, Xia Li, the Viking Raiders, Ricochet, Humberto and Garza, Ridge Holland. So that's 9 guys. You could argue that all 9 of them, like if you were to look at who switched between Raw and SmackDown tonight, they're behind Becky, they're behind Seth, they're behind Owens, they're behind Balor. Most of them might even be behind Carmella. I mean, she's had a couple of title reigns. Damn, as far as buzz goes, almost all of them are behind Gable Steveson for the sheer curiosity of it. But what this looks like is, if I didn't know any better, I would think that Paul Heyman was running SmackDown. If I didn't know better. He's not, but this looks like a bunch of people that Paul Heyman would go, give me them. I want them. I want Shayna Baszler. I want the Viking Raiders. There are a lot of people that can work. There are a lot of people that have upside. Humberto and Garza, especially as a team. Shayna has a bunch of upside. We don't know what Xia Li can be. We don't know what Ridge Holland can be. We know that Ricochet has some upside. Who stands out to you on SmackDown as far as these draft picks that moved over?
So looking at this list and looking at this list now side by side too, it's definitely looking like Raw is a lot stronger. But anyways, Ridge Holland for me on the SmackDown side is definitely the biggest get. One of the things that I noticed based on the SmackDown
that he's teaming with Madcap and Happy soon. He's gonna have suspenders and a hat.
Please,
soon.
God, no.
Look at what he wears on NXT.
No,
he wears the hat
Sean.
and the jacket.
Please do not manifest it.
Sheamus, Sheamus is probably the most high profile name that they picked up.
See, and that's not even like, I wouldn't even say too high profile, because like, obviously there's, I feel like he's sort of been like in the same like steady picture on Raw anyways, but I would definitely say Ridge Holland is probably the best one out of there. I feel though that a lot of people that got drafted to SmackDown are kind of those people where it's like, well, what if you actually do something with these people? There might actually have something there. You already mentioned Humberto and Angel Garza, but let's talk about Ricochet, for example. He's somebody that I feel that, a lot of people feel that they can actually do something with. Xia Li, I'm really happy just the fact that they even announced her on the show. They could have easily made this announcement on social media. The fact that they announced her on on Raw is kind of makes it feel like a bigger deal. And for the most part, like, people were legitimately getting into her character on NXT for what it's worth. But looking at the rest of the list, Jeff Hardy, I'm wondering, like, he did tease like this new version of Jeff Hardy coming. I'm assuming he's turning heel. But I mean, like, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Drew McIntyre, those are like the biggest names that they've got there.
Yeah, as far as tonight goes, they definitely went like potential heavy on SmackDown. Xia Li is very interesting to me. We'll see how that goes. She could be somebody that figures in big, or she could be somebody that they sit in catering for a long time. Brandon Charles Powell says the 24/7 title is only on Raw, right? If so, that gives me some hope for Ricochet on SmackDown. Nope. That title is on any show, anywhere. If you remember, Reggie popped up. He went back and forth between them. KE775 said, have you heard anything about the Raw rebound and SmackDown breakdown? Are they going to be like extra shows to get more people on TV? I haven't heard a damn thing about that. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. So I'm gonna have to look at that. Maybe I've been out of it or something. But Brandon Charles Powell said, you said what, Denise?
What'd I say?
I don't know. I don't know what you said.
I don't know what I said either.
Bezos says, why not wait until the 22nd to do the draft? Because they had already pushed it back at one point. So they wanted to get this done. And they had a season premiere to do. Ken says, the third time I've got those acronyms messed up. Are the undrafted free agents more likely to actually pick a brand or sit in catering? They're more likely to get sent to a brand and then sit in catering is what they're likely to do. Orlando says, Raw went by quick. Seems like they're doing small feuds until Crown Jewel or just running matches back, Denise.
Yeah. It just really bums me out. I know the reasonings as to why there's this big gap between the draft and the day that it takes effect. But it's like, how do you have a season premiere without the new roster? I'm sorry, but that just to me is just too confusing. I don't like it.
Joel says that those two names were a couple of copyrights. I'll dig. I'll see what I can find out. RH says, I can't wait for Alpha Academy to end so a new tag team can form in 2022 called Chad Gable Steveson. Buddy, Gable Steveson is his brother is in the Performance Center right now, and I bet you they're going to do what they can to have him ready. WWE Mark says they're going to run Liv, Mella, Zelina on Raw. Oh, my God, Zelina's over there, too.
Yeah.
All three of them are on Raw. Jesus Christ, man.
It kind of felt like for a second that they were being separated, but that's definitely not the case. We're going to get the same thing there.
Guys, get your super chats in. It means an awful lot. Nikyle says, can't believe WWE had the balls to tweet that Kofi squash. That triggered me. It really did, Denise.
I didn't see it. What happened?
They tweeted 2 years ago today, Brock Lesnar beat Kofi Kingston and
they tweeted it out.
I mean, that was when me and you started this show, and it was a real dark period for the title scene. Like, think about all that happened there. They blew their wad on the Brock Lesnar Money in the Bank and just, bam, did it. They had The Fiend in the title picture. He didn't need to be in it. Then they had him lose to Rollins. Then they had him win the title and then lose it to Bill Goldberg. It was a mess. They had Cain Velasquez get a title match in Saudi Arabia, and they got the title off Kofi to do it.
Dang, that's when we started the show. Fun times.
Guys, if you all don't mind, I posted this link on my Twitter. Share it, retweet it, all that good stuff. Spreading the word really helps us out. Norm Summers says, what's up, you guys? How long will it take for a Bearcat Dijak match, or God forbid, a team-up? Will he go back to Dijak, or will he change his name to Dominic Dragonman? I just wish T-Bar's name was Dijak, all capital letters.
And that's it. That's it by itself.
Just Dijak. WWE loves to simplify things. Like his name outside of WWE was Donovan Dijak. And they were like, oh, let's make it Dominic Dijakovic.
Yeah.
And all right.
I wasn't even saying that last name right for like the longest time. Every time it came out of my mouth, something different came. I think I was calling him Dijakovic for a certain period of time.
Man. Blocka says, Denise's Wrestle Talk draft is better than the actual WWE draft. Most obvious screw job in internet wrestling history.
It was.
Always
Salcedo. Getting screwed on Wrestle Talk. It's sad.
You guys can also check out the fantasy draft or the mock draft that The Distraction and Grapsody did last Thursday on The Distraction. We launched the Grapsody podcast this past Saturday. They talked about Arn Anderson with that Glock. They talked about Leo Rush. They talked about Keith Bearcat Lee, representation in wrestling media. Every Saturday, Phil Lindsay, Righteous Reg, and William Washington bringing you wrestling news at noon. You guys are gonna love it. We got a bunch of draft talk. We will get back to it. We're going to talk about Jeff Hardy, Damian Priest, because, we had to have this match again, Denise. We had to. And I even said when Jeff Hardy didn't win his match at the pay-per-view, I said, don't worry, they're going to do it before the roster split. The match was fine. Jeff loses after a swanton bomb, but he goes for a lazy pin, and Damian Priest does not play that shit. He does not play that. He hits a crucifix and beats Jeff Hardy. I really dug the finish. I liked the match. It's just, how could we be arsed to care for like the fifth, sixth time? He's beaten Hardy. He's beaten Sheamus twice. He beat Sheamus again. He beat them both. Damn.
Yeah, it really takes away from the win feeling like a big deal. Like, it should feel like a big deal when Damian Priest wins. It did to me, it didn't feel like a big deal. It's kind of like, okay, we all know where we're getting at here. Let's just kind of get through with the match. And last week Damian Priest had a really great match, and that was really fun. His match with Sheamus, that was great, considering that's a match that we'd seen a million times. So it was still really good. Obviously, this one was a lot different, wasn't to that level. But either way, I just kind of wish that, why are you making that face?
Because I just got the most confused. So they made some more picks, right?
Right now for the draft?
Yeah. And let's just get through this segment. Let's get through this segment because it's very confusing.
Okay.
Some of the decisions they made, like
All right.
baffling.
Two
Baffling,
thoughts.
Denise.
Jeff Hardy's probably going to turn heel, and I think he needs it. I think it's the right thing to do. The other thing is that I love the way Jeff Hardy sold the hell out of that missed dive. I mean, he sold it like a car crash. Like, that looked great.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I wanted to get on is just more challenging matches for Jeff Hardy. They need to make him look like a better challenger. But then again, that's it. Okay, now I want to hear the news.
That's okay. We got Austin Theory coming out after this. He is a new Raw draftee. He is playing fanboy. I thought this was going to be like a fanboy gimmick. And I was like, okay, this could be the I paid for your house, you owe me something gimmick. I think that could be funny in the future. But then he beats the hell out of Jeff Hardy and takes a selfie with him. What'd you think of this?
Honestly, my honest opinions.
Yeah.
Sean, I forgot he was on the main roster before this. When he came out,
he was who? Austin Theory?
He
hasn't been. He just got drafted back to it Friday.
I know, but before that, though, I forgot about everything he had done. Like, completely forgot. And then I was like, oh shit, like, why did I forget about this? But it's kind of like, just to basically put it out there, that it wasn't necessarily all of that memorable, And anyway, so when he came out here today, I actually liked the whole fanboy thing, and I liked the direction that they were going, and I liked him turning on Jeff Hardy. All of that was fine, and it actually helped because when he came out to no reaction whatsoever. So him kind of making the crowd, laugh a little bit during that fanboy, him fanboying and all of that, and then turning, I thought that was great.
I really like that. We've got a super chat. Clipbeard says, I hate how WWE tried to make us look stupid with Theory talking about his dream was to be on Raw when he was there last year. And with Becky saying Flair and Bianca have never faced, forgetting about NXT. Well, Austin was there until last June, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, speaking out, I think it had as much to do with Paul Heyman getting fired that week as anything, because he wanted him up there. But we're going to talk about the 24/7 segment too. But in the meantime, Damian Priest got drafted to Raw, and I think that was legit happiness on his part. If I were him, based on the way he's been booked, I'd probably want to stay on Raw too, because he's one of the few people that gets protected really heavily on Raw. And I mean, he was supposed to go to SmackDown last year, and some guys at the top put the kibosh on it. So I probably wouldn't want to head over there either. I'd want to stay on the brand where you're protected really well. So I think that was a legit sense of happiness there. We saw the 24/7 title segment in which Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz witnessed all this. Reggie got lured out there. And I just think, like, I wonder if WWE Raw is going to pretend like they don't know this guy, Commander Aziz. Now, I mean, I don't have anything to say about the 24/7 segment. It's the same stuff we've been seeing. It's okay. But we're talking about a guy in Commander Aziz who on this program tried to rip a man's penis and balls off with his bare hand while Shane McMahon watched like, yeah, that's that shit I like. And they're going to act like they don't have any idea who he is.
Of course not. It wouldn't make sense. They're not going to say anything. It wouldn't make sense for them to make sense of that and to try to remember. I mean, come on. Like, there's been people, like, how many times haven't we been? You remember Retribution was a thing, and they were acting like they didn't know any of these people. They're going to have to, it's on par with them. They're going to have to pretend they've never seen them before.
Oh, Denise. So we're about to go off on some stuff.
Why?
I'm just trying to get this show reviewed.
Is it bad?
It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. And I'm going to make the people wait one more segment because Tozawa comes out and interrupts Kevin Owens, who has been drafted to Raw. Christopher Hart says, was Tozawa's segment KO's "That's when I knew I was going to AEW" moment? No, I think if he's going to AEW, he probably knew it well before. Joel Wood says, based on the recent social media activity of KO lately, I'm less sure of Owens leaving than I was before. Do you have any feelings one way or another? As I always say, I will never try to understand the motivations of a millionaire. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know creatively. I mean, we're talking about not just millionaires, creative millionaires, Denise. Like, these people have different ways that they like to portray their art and like to get that out there. So it's hard for me to say what anybody will want. Kevin Owens might want to stay in WWE. He might want to go to AEW.
I'm sorry, but what the hell was this segment? To me, it didn't even make sense.
Lazy is what it was. He hit a stunner on Tozawa and hit the bricks, and that was it.
Exactly. My question is, why? What was the purpose?
Just to get him on TV. That's it.
It was it was dumb. I didn't see the purpose in it. And my whole thing is, all right, when there's this big cloud of assumption over your head that Kevin Owens may be leaving after his contract is up, my thought process behind this, if I'm a decision maker, is do everything in my power to make this guy not make this an easy decision. I want to convince him to, like, if I want him to stay, if this is somebody I want to stay, and I would think that they would want Kevin Owens to stay, I would do everything in my power to make this guy feel like this is the place to be. And if you leave, you might regret it. And right now, based on just like, I'm not even talking about like anything else, because I did like everything that he did with Roman Reigns and all of that was fantastic. And everything that he's done with Sami Zayn has been fantastic. Okay, fine, whatever. But this tonight with Akira Tozawa, even if it was just one night for like a minute or whatever, that's not a good indicator of where they're headed with Kevin Owens.
Evan Wright says, I miss Dragon Gate Akira Tozawa. Give him back. Well, they gave Finn Balor back to Raw. He got a video package. We had a promotion package for Toxic Attraction for NXT. So they did a few video packages tonight that promoted people. But Seth Rollins was out there promoting himself. He had his Drip God stuff out there. But Edge is headed to Raw too. That's a really good addition. He did an interview. It was harmless. It was, hey, here I am on Raw. Now, let's talk. Nerd Guru says, I saw the Raw Talk picks. Here's $5 for you and Alex to go off. Well, Denise is on the show tonight, but Alex is going to go off tomorrow night on FightfulSelect.com on Sour Graps. Are you ready, Denise?
Tell me already. I'm frustrated. Just tell me.
The SmackDown picks are Natalya without Tamina. Shotzi without Tegan.
Already?
And get this, Shanky and Jinder without Veer. Okay, right?
Okay, that's not making me mad. That's just hilarious.
It's funny. It's so ridiculous. So they beat Natalya and Tamina 400 times and split them up. I couldn't give a shit. Give a shit couldn't be me. Tegan and Shotzi beat those girls 742 times and we're supposed to get a title shot. And they didn't get their title shot. But I'll tell you, if they do, Denise, they're going to get it over the next 2 weeks now that we know that they're already broken up and they're not going to win.
Wait, is this it? Is this what I'm supposed to be outraged about?
You can be outraged about whatever you want. I'm not outraged. It's just stupid.
I thought I was angry. This doesn't make me angry.
Why angry?
That's how you made it seem. You made it seem like I was going to be angry. Like, what the hell?
Stupid.
Well, it is stupid. Like, first of all, like with Tegan and Shotzi, it's like, you're telling me I wasted all these minutes of my life watching these SmackDown matches, talking about them on my show like they were going somewhere with it for nothing. That's the only thing where I'm like, all right, whatever. But we should have known,
next time anybody says let it play out, it'll make sense. They're going to catch a smack. They're catching a smack.
We should have known that they were going to break them up. If you think about it, all the signs were there, Sean. They were all there. The signs were there.
What signs? They weren't on TV.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big sign. You're not on TV. You're supposed to be this new tag team. Yeah, you got these wins, but you never actually got your title shot. Okay, that's a big sign that they were gonna, break them up. But in a way, like, it's stupid, but it doesn't hurt it too bad because it's not like they were necessarily like an established team. Like, I think I saw more. I don't know.
Additional picks on Raw: Dana Brooke, the Dirty Dogs, Jackson Riker, Liv Morgan, Mia Yim. I don't know if she went by the name Reckoning there. I'm going to look it up. Somebody please let me know in the chat. The Hurt Business, Cedric and Shelton, and The Miz. I mean, that's a significant addition.
Where did Morrison go to again? Is he on?
He went to Raw. I think he went to Raw.
Oh, yeah, he's on Raw.
So, Hurt Business, Miz, Dirty Dogs, some good additions there. Malcolm Mitchell says, who's going to be the top female babyface in SmackDown? Probably.
They could do Naomi if they wanted to.
Yeah, probably.
They could do Naomi. I mean, Toni Storm if they wanted to. Not Sasha Banks, she's a heel.
She was mentioned as Mia Yim. Everybody in the draft pool got drafted. So there were no free agents. KE775 says, forgot if I asked, do you sense what's up with Dakota Kai? They had not indicated to the NXT call-ups as of Wednesday what was going to happen to them. They didn't tell them they were getting called up or where. Sean Blanford said, my God, Jinder's beating Roman, isn't he? Oh, boy.
Okay, so wait, who got separated? Was it Shanky or was it Veer again?
Rinku Singh. I can't. I think it's Veer. He was the one that was in Indu's share.
Yeah. Okay, so he's the one staying on Raw then, or is he going to SmackDown? Sorry, I didn't clarify that.
He's staying on Raw.
He's staying on Raw. Oh, man. Oh, this is going to be brutal. I feel like they kind of needed each other. I mean, they weren't that great as a trio, but they're not that great alone either.
It's such a WWE thing to be like, how many tag teams we got in the women's division? 2? 4? Let's make it 2. Let's make sure we only got 2. That's what we need to do. Who the hell are they going to face? They need to. It's so stupid.
Veer,
so stupid.
I'll tell you, he's going to face T-Bar. He's going to face Karrion Kross. He's going to face R-Truth, John Morrison.
Was R-Truth drafted?
Drake Maverick. Yeah, I'm seeing him on the Raw roster.
Where are you seeing him on the Raw roster at? Wikipedia?
Right here. No, I got the list up right here on F4W.
Okay.
And he's listed on the Raw
side. Like Fart 4W.
Hey, I don't say nothing bad.
Anyway, guys, keep those super chats coming in. Brandon Charles Powell said, did Shotzi and Knox ever get that title shot? Nope, they sure didn't. Anakin JMT says, Denise, I was pronouncing Dijak's last name that way too. Pretty sure NXT commentary said it that way several times.
Okay, so I thought I just made it up because I think one time I said it on the show and you corrected me and I was like, oh, damn, I guess I messed up this whole time. My bad.
They've done it Dijakovic, all kinds of ways. Anakin says, at this point, have Team Kick reform. Oh, could you imagine? Jesus. Aziz versus Omos is Vince's wet dream, says Cliff Beard. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, we're going to get back to draft picks in a moment. We've got Injection 2K says, I got Willow vibes from Jeff Hardy. I hope not. That character sucks ass. I don't like the Willow character. I don't like the Itchweed character. Don't like any of that. But I do like Shayna Baszler beating up Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke's barely been on this show, but Shayna beat that ass.
She hasn't wrestled since June 28th or 29th, something like that.
Since Mandy went up.
Yeah, that's when they were still doing that's when they were still doing something with her and Mandy. And like, that ended up, being what it was. But yeah, I feel bad for her. She's become forgetful on the roster, which is very, very sad. There was a lot of people that I saw on Twitter today basically saying they even forgot who she was, which sounds a little drastic, but then again, people have different viewing habits.
People love to be drastic, as do I. This was quick. It was easy. Alicia Ellis says, Shayna winning the Queen's crown and Woods winning King of the Ring are such obvious and good picks that I fully believe they're going out early in the tournament because WWE is dumb. It writes itself, Denise. King of the Ring, Xavier's wanted to win it forever. You've had Big E and Kofi win their dream titles. Xavier has said, oh, yeah, that'd be nice, but I've always wanted to be king of the ring. He said that. Give the people what they want and give the Queen of Spades the ability to be the Queen of Spades.
And then today afterwards, like after his match, he was just like going off about his crown. So, I mean, if they don't get the hint after that, I don't know what you can do.
Yeah. Dustin Pallon says something about Shayna versus Doudrop has me legitimately excited. Do you see WWE giving them more than 2 minutes on Raw and 6 on pay-per-view? Who do you have winning? I got Shayna winning. Shayna needs to win that. Doudrop won't get hurt any by losing to Shayna Baszler, Denise.
Doudrop's had like every obstacle thrown in front of her. They gave her a terrible name of Doudrop. They put her in there with Eva Marie in this like story that was really, really odd in these matches that have been horrible. Her losing to Shayna would probably be the best thing that has happened to her on that roster.
Well, we've got RK Bro coming face-to-face with AJ and Omos, and Orton challenges Omos to a match, but the crafty old veteran is teaching the rookie some new tricks, Denise.
Yeah.
He just wants to get out there and be a slithery little snake.
Yeah, I was a little confused about Matt Riddle's promo back there. I was like, what is he trying to insinuate? That Randy Orton's walking around all happy backstage?
What did he say again? It was a reference to something.
It was something along the lines of like his pants, and I forgot the exact verbatim, but it was kind of insinuating that he was walking around like with the, I don't want to say
an erection.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to be disgusting,
An erect
and say it
penis.
out loud.
That's what
Thank
he was
you.
insinuating. Yeah,
Thank
you're right.
you. That's what he was.
Yeah, is that a snake in your pants, or are you as happy as I am?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Seth Rollins said shit on TV tonight. He was very excited about that last week during NXT too. He even tweeted. He said, "I guess we can say shit now." Cool.
I mean, if you can insinuate that someone's walking around with an erection,
I mean,
shit isn't at the top of the list, man.
Hey guys, subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. I'm going to keep plugging it. I have a story about the WWE USA Network relationship and a little bit of a scoopski here, Denise. I asked them, I'm like, hey, what about, ask them as in USA Network sources about the possibility or about their feelings on edgier content and language. And they're like, well, we have it on our other shows, so why not wrestling? And I love that approach.
Dude, I'm sorry, but like I watch a lot of television, okay? And some of these storylines on these shows, they are like granted, a lot of them aren't streaming services, but still, a lot of the shows that I watch are putting out some edgy as hell, content out there. I'm sorry, but at this point, like it's all around. Like, I remember watching Riverdale and like watching some like practically almost porn scenes up in there with like, with Jughead and Betty. Like they
people
were like,
who are supposed to be high schoolers.
Yeah, they were like getting it on, man. Like full on. Like, and that was on cable television. So you're telling me you can't get a little edgy on wrestling? Screw that, man. I remember that scene.
I caught about 5 minutes of that show once, and it was Archie beating up like 732 people back to back, and I just got so annoyed. I was like, this ain't never happening again.
Like the first couple of seasons were fine, and then it was just like god-awful programming, and I stopped watching.
Well, we had Super Brutality against Natalya and Tamina. They had a promo beforehand. Fine. They're doing the Rhea thinks that Nikki is corny thing. That's fine. They beat Natalya and Tamina. I love most of the ingredients in this match, but you know what I don't love? This match happening again. Could not care. Profound Magician says, how many women's tag team titles or how many women's tag teams are on the main roster right now? Why do they even have the titles anymore? Well, I think there's about 2 teams now, and I wouldn't know what the second one is.
Super Brutality and who else? I watch and
they broke up Doudrop and Eva Marie.
Okay,
you could count Zelina and Carmella.
No way.
If you really
no
tried.
way, Sean. No, that's stretching it.
Really
no, that
tried.
does not count. Nope, no way.
Otherwise, they have one team. One team.
Which are the champions, right?
Are the champions, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't think of another team that's a legitimate team.
That's it. Well, Ali and Mansoor are a legitimate team. And if you didn't know it, you figured it out because they faced Garza and Carrillo again.
Woohoo.
My favorite thing is
we're going to 50-50 book this too.
I love that like half a second after this ended, Big E is like, y'all can piss off. Neither one of you are the New Day, so I'm just going to come interrupt this. It's fine. It's just, why are we doing this again, Denise?
I don't know, because they don't want to put, man, I just like, if I'm Ali and I'm Mansoor, I'll be honest with you. Like, I thought for a while they were giving them a push. I thought for a good chunk of time that maybe we were going to see them become tag team champions at Saudi Arabia. That's where I thought this whole thing was going. But they're losing to Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, who are guys that, have been sitting in catering. They haven't been doing anything with. If I'm Ali, if I'm Mansoor, I'm starting to worry a little bit about my slot on this roster. And that's that's on their end, right? And then when it comes to Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, I almost like they need to give, what other teams? They have more men's teams and they could get them some wins against them, but they tend to only slot certain people with each other. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And neither of these teams is ever going to grow if they don't put them up there with some of the other, better tag teams to have competitive matches and to actually pick up some wins. They're all just staying in the same exact level. And I'm glad that we are seeing Garza and Humberto move on over to SmackDown, because optimistically, I'm being a little hopeful here that they're actually going to treat them like a proper tag team and not like a, bottom of the barrel team.
Couldn't agree more. And as far as the women go, it's like there's so many women not doing anything on the show. Build some teams. Nikyle Bisnath says Holland is up. What's next for Pete Dunne on 2.0? He's still got Lorcan and Birch, so he'll be fine.
Pete Dunne's one of those guys that I don't think he's not one of those guys where I'm like, oh man, he lost Ridge Holland. Shoot, that's not going to be good for him. Exactly. Nah, Pete Dunne is fine on his own. He's fine doing his thing. He doesn't need to rely on anybody.
Ridge Holland needed Pete Dunne more than Pete Dunne needed Ridge Holland. And
correct.
We'll see if he can sink or swim there. Intangible One Cliff Beard says SmackDown won the tag division and women's divisions in this year's draft so far. Shayna should win the Queen's Crown thing. I'm going to take a look after tomorrow at Dunn and Ridge turned on Lorcan and Birch. You're right. Luis pointed that out. Completely forgot about that. NXT 2.0 moves at like 5 million miles an hour. So it's hard for me to even remember what dude,
I spent like 2 weeks ago when they were showing all of these new people. I spent so much time having to pause and Google people because I was like, who the hell is this person? What do they do? What's their background? Why don't I know this person?
I forgot.
That takes a lot of energy.
I watched this show. I rather enjoy how fast paced it is, but I forget so much stuff that happens on these shows. Thank you to their group for passing that in. Tyler McDowell Blanken says, huge Ricochet fan here. What's his ceiling on SmackDown? We will find out the first night he's on the show, Denise.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. It depends. If they want to do something with him, his ceiling, there is no ceiling. If they just see him the way that they've been seeing him the last couple of years, then you're just going to see the exact same thing, but on SmackDown.
Yeah, and I'll have to look at the rosters. Like, it wouldn't shock me to see him put in a tag team either with somebody. But what is his ceiling? I think on that show, probably Intercontinental title. He ain't going to get into the world title picture. Unfortunately, he's one of those guys that can do things physically that nobody else can do, and they don't do much with it. Brandon Charles Powell said they obliterated 3 teams in one fell swoop after Raw. They sure did. Orlando Arrego said Raw Talk just did some drafts and they broke up the only 2 women's tag teams, and Gender's team just broke up too. Like, imagine how obtuse you have to be like, well, SmackDown didn't want Veer. They hated Veer so much they were like, only these 2.
Man, I don't even know what to say.
They need to have like the commentators say on Raw, Veer wanted to be drafted by himself. Veer went to officials and demanded he be drafted by himself. Like,
there's no way that's going to happen.
I know
that's not going to happen. We're not even going to see. We might see Veer once, and then that's going to be legitimately it.
Norm says Ricochet would do great in a wrestling company, not so much in WWE. Stay juicy. A manager would help too, and I don't disagree with you, Norm. Cliff Beard says Ricochet gonna feud forever with Happy Corbin. Ah, boy, you're right.
Well, and
They're gonna do
Madcap
that.
Moss. Dude, I keep wanting to call Madcap Moss Mad Cat Moss. It's driving me nuts. I hate
Did you ever
the
use a
name.
Mad Catz controller when you play
No.
PlayStation?
I don't play PlayStation.
Anakin says, what do you think it'll take for most of the roster to realize WWE isn't the hotbed of wrestling it was in the Attitude Era? Oh, most of them realize it. Like, I mean, the people that I've spoken with, they're very realistic. I don't talk to anybody. I talk to like a significant part of the roster, and they're not detached from reality here. Like, they're very aware. For some reason, the super chat did not pop up, but Mautar says, how about Dakota Kai? Bailey and Asuka are injured. I get it. They'll come back whenever suits them, but Dakota is nowhere to be seen. I promise you, I'm going to ask. I'm going to try to find out, but I'm doing my best. Brandon Charles Powell says the Fox robot did not want Veer. Pissed him off. They pissed him off.
Poor Veer.
But Andrew Lolavar says, upset the New Day broke up. It's like Vince saw fans being happy weeks ago and thought, no more of that. Plus, SmackDown women and tag divisions are overstocked. Well, speaking of New Day, Big E came out and he's like, I'm not too happy about this. I don't like it, but it's happening. And he calls out Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, I thought, cut one of his more natural promos in a while. It's not necessarily a history lesson. That's because Dolph Ziggler's handing out the history lessons, Denise. Now, you had tweeted, and I agree with you, this is one of the better setups for a Can They Coexist match. And that's because Dolph Ziggler showed up to the truck with his little USB stick, and he said, plug this in, Kevin Dunn. Got something for you. And he rolled some footage of how he brought in these guys. And now, granted, he already got like 200 title shots off this and got Bobby Roode a title shot last year off this, and they lost. But we get to see the Big E history played out through here. And I was okay with that.
Okay, so I have 3 thoughts. One, in terms of, we all knew that they were going to do this, like, can they coexist between Drew McIntyre and Big E thing? Like, we all knew that's the direction they were headed, right? At least they found a more creative way in building up to it. Now, my only criticism, and I should add this, though, that everything that Dolph Ziggler said during this, it made sense. You know, he provided footage. I mean, he laid out a whole PowerPoint presentation. Everything he said made sense. And, you know, I agreed with everything he said. Fine. I liked all of that. It led to something. Great. The only thing I didn't like was that it went extremely long, where it was like, if you pick out pieces of this, it was fantastic. But as a whole, it took forever to get to the actual point. That was one of the things where I did kind of feel like it dragged on way too long. And then my third thing was, I really hope they don't go into like Big E and Dolph Ziggler, because I'm really not that interested in seeing that program. And I hope they don't do that. I'm just not interested.
Well, they had a match. It was fine. 4 really, really good workers. And that's about all I got to say about it. It was a Can They Coexist match that had no intrigue, was largely inconsequential. At this point, the Dirty Dogs had not been drafted to Raw, so what the hell are they doing on the show, Denise? And I got people saying, oh, well, they were there. Nothing matters right now. Then tell me, if you can tell me 60 times on the show, Denise, that the draft results don't take effect until October 22nd, you can also tell me on the show there's some relaxed rules for a little bit. That's all I need to hear.
I'm just like, I feel bad, but I just like have zero interest in the Dirty Dogs. I find them so incredibly boring, where it is hard. It's like pulling teeth for me to get interested. I'm sorry. I just can't. Like, I try every single week, but it's just like, this ain't it, man. So the fact that I actually enjoyed this for what it was, this was a huge plus for me, because normally I would be completely disinterested.
Mod Montar says, it was a member super chat. Here's an actual one. Always waiting for notifications from Fightful Select. We're going to get plenty of them, my friend. And also, I mean, I'll still read those member super chat. That's why you all join. It just didn't pop up on StreamYard for some reason. Omar says, since you forgot, hashtag mute Denise. Denise has been on her best behavior tonight. I can't really...
Thanks. So now I have to behave good to be on this show. Sean, you don't even listen to me. You should have just kept me in developmental.
Let's mute Denise here. Cliff Beard says Fox saw Veer's baseball career and said, nah. I mean, at least he gave it a go. I'm not going to fault the man for having a largely unlikely Major League Baseball or minor league baseball career. I mean, they made a movie about the damn thing. So, yeah, I think, have you seen that movie, Denise? Oh, you're frozen. Or am I frozen? Who's frozen? Who's frozen? Is it me? Oh, well, we're gonna, okay, I'm good. I was sitting here trying to refresh and everything. I really muted Denise. Oh my God. Oh my, yeah, here she is. Should I let her in?
Sean?
Yeah.
So believe it or not, we're having a storm in Los Angeles. We have lightning and thunder and rain, and we are not prepared for it. So the lightning kind of like blew out just my internet for some reason.
I thought I thought it was like $1 Million Baby, and I hit you in the head and killed you or something.
No, internet. Denise. Did you hear?
Denise, your connection is dog shit. You gotta hold off. Denise's connection is absolute dog shit. We'll get her back whenever that is back. Let me see here. Let me go onto the solo frame over here. There we go. We're gonna keep reading some super chats, get through this show. 813 Car Guy says, I've been searching all night for a list of barred holds in WWE. Can somebody send me a link? We'll put one together. It depends on if you mean kayfabe or realistic. James Barris says, what is the thought behind surprise roll-ups? Do they think it really protects anyone? Yes. WWE, Vince McMahon thinks that it does protect someone. Isaiah TV says, what are the odds Vince changes his mind about draft picks within the next 3 weeks and changes them with no explanation? Oh, I'd be willing to bet that we get at least a few that do that. Keep those super chats rolling in. KE775 says, do you think Mia Yim will get a legit shot on Raw? It doesn't seem like the women's roster is super deep. I'll have to take a look at the women's roster after all this, but yeah, I think if she gets on TV, she'll get an okay shot. I don't know if she'll be pushed towards the top of the card or anything, because if they wanted to, they would have had her on that show within the year at some point. But you know what, guys? Denise got muted. She got muted. I thought that I killed her. I thought I killed Denise. I thought that me muting Denise put her to sleep. But you know what? You're going to be able to rest easy when you go to helixsleep.com/Fightful. Oh, yeah, my friends. I've been doing all this traveling lately, and I do not sleep well on the road. Not at all. I sleep bad. I come home, I sleep like a baby. That's because I got one of those Helix Sleep Dusk Luxe mattresses. I went to helixsleep.com, took a quiz. It was like 2 minutes, and it completely matches me. Sorry, I stuttered there. Completely matched to the perfect mattress for me. They got soft, medium, firm mattresses, ones that are great for cooling you down to sleep hot, great for spinal alignment to prevent morning aches and pains, even a Helix Plus mattress for plus-size sleepers. Now, this was during the pandemic when I went to Helix Sleep, and I didn't want the same old mattress that I've been on. I've been on this piece of crap slab of memory foam, and I didn't want to roll around on a mattress everybody else had been rolling around on, so I went to helixsleep.com. I took their quiz and I got matched up with that Dusk Luxe model, and it really changed the game for me. I used to only be able to sleep on my back. Don't know why. It was just how it was. I had a pretty bad neck injury about 12 years ago, and that changed my sleeping habits. Now I'm able to sleep on my side as well, and they got those wonderful pillows. So right now, Helix Sleep is offering up to $200 off all mattresses and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Fightful. Up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. They have a 10-year warranty. You get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it. So they'll send you this mattress, and if you hit them up and say, I don't like it, it's not for me, you don't get your best night's sleep ever, they'll come pick it up for you. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. They've got over 12,000 5-star reviews. So it's not just me telling you it's great. It's a ton of other people telling you it's great. GQ Magazine, Wired Magazine named it their top overall mattress pick for 2020. Check it out. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. I also love their products over at Allform as well. They're great furniture. I am a big believer in the Helix product. I bought one of their mattresses myself. And then I said, you know what? I would like to see if we could do business with these people. And fortunately, they were down for it.
Hello there. We're having a big storm, Sean. It's like the biggest storm we've had in like over a decade. I kid you not. Yes, we're legit having a storm right now. Like
a
for
decade?
LA, this is a storm. Yes.
A decade? You mean the same length of time as the warranty for HelixSleep.com/Fightful? 10 years. So listen, Denise, you get a Helix Sleep mattress and you rest like a baby, and their warranty will last an entire storm length. Amazing.
A whole storm, a whole LA storm. Yeah, we're sorry. We're not used to this. So if I do go out again, I'll try to come back, but just FYI.
It's okay. You can't help out acts of God. Anakin says, did you see Chris Hemsworth in the storm?
No, but I feel like I literally feel like the storm just like I was the demon Finn Balor, and there's just ropes just like went underneath me, and I was just like gone and out. I could like, do you hear that? Like, I'm not used to this. This is
I muted you.
Fun.
I muted you, and you like died. It's like, what did I do?
Oh, so you thought you did it?
Yeah, I was like, oh. I was sitting here like, did I freeze or did Denise? I wasn't sure.
No, you missed it. I just heard like a bunch of like boom, 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 and then everything was gone.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Brandon Charles Powell says Queen of Spades versus Charlotte the Queen. I can dig that. It's natural. I wish they would do it and make it worth a damn. Nerd Guru says, just call them the WWE Women's Champion and the Women's Universal Champion. I don't understand why they're brand exclusive. It is very stupid. I don't know why they don't do that with the tag titles as well, Denise.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that either. I feel, see, here's my thing. I do think that if you're a brand specific champion, I almost feel like maybe you shouldn't be like up for grabs to be like, in the draft. I don't know. Yep. Does that suck the fun?
No, I agree. I mean, I agree. I think that would be good. And I mean, I think they could make for some good storyline stuff too, where in the weeks before, like GMs are like, no, we want titles on this person so they can't be drafted. Like you get some elements of favoritism played in there.
Yeah, for sure. They can definitely do something like that. I think they should definitely implement that into the next draft.
Nerd Guru says Tegan returned to team with Shotzi. They broke up Shotzi. Ember teams Shotzi with Tegan. Now they broke up Shotzi and Tegan. Good Lord, the idiocy.
I feel so bad for them. And what sucks too is that they even made their debut like the week before without a crowd. So they could have at least had that moment where they made their debut still in like the Thunderdome era together. They could have like made their debut with people like literally the following week.
Yep. Launchpad says they're really calling KO the dynamic Kevin Owens on Raw Talk. So he's totally going to get buried the next few months, right? I'll try to find out what the hell that is about. Cliff Beard says the Lightning delayed Monday Night Football by 45 minutes tonight. Yikes. And Christian Knight says Denise with the old Shield promo quality camera.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I heard because the game's at SoFi, and I don't think SoFi was prepared for this is like
who would be?
Yeah,
out there. I mean, nobody
$1 billion stadium, but they're not prepared. And like, even though they have the roof, I believe if I'm correct, they're still open on the sides a little bit. So I think that might like affect the game. I don't know.
So we've got Wrestle Riot says, I'm not upset that they broke up Big E and New Day. E needs to stand on his own and prove he can be the face of the company. I'm telling you, all it takes is like Big E being backstage and he's bummed out. And then Adam Pearce is like, I figured they told you that they requested to be drafted separately so you could stand on your own. And Big E could just shoot one of those looks like, okay, I see what they're doing. Like one of those, like make an effort.
Explain it.
Make an effort to just make it make sense. Because otherwise, within kayfabe, unless you tell us, unless you say they can't be drafted together. That's fine. It's okay if you want to tell me Big E, Kofi, and Xavier cannot be drafted together. That's okay to me. Just tell me that.
Yeah, in that case, they need to make it clear who can and cannot be drafted together, because you have the Mysterios being drafted together. You do not have Veer, Shanky, and Jinder being drafted together. But then you have, Nikki and Rhea, and they're champions and all that. But still, it's like, oh, again, they're champions. So okay, fine, I'll let that one slide. But I'm trying to come up with some more examples.
Nikki sounded shocked. She was like, "Oh my gosh, we got drafted to the same brand." Well, no shit. You're tag champions.
Yeah, so they need to really make it like official.
Michael Branson says, just how large is the storm? I'm in East San Diego, and it's wild right now. Well, I hope you guys are staying safe.
Yeah, I don't remember anything like this like recently.
Brandon Charles Powell said, my word, you not only muted her, but you froze her. Well,
you exploded me, bro. Like freaking thunder was taking me out here, man.
I'm sorry. Paul Heyman was very happy. He got the Usos drafted to SmackDown. I was really hoping that the Usos would get drafted to Raw, and Roman and Paul Heyman would strong arm Fox into trading the Usos for the New Day. That way you would have New Day on Raw, Usos on SmackDown. What'd you think of Heyman's backstage promo? Thought it was really great.
I thought it was pretty funny. It was probably one of the best things that they've done with Kevin Patrick as an interviewer. So that was pretty funny. Like just the one line and, essentially having Paul Heyman just like, staying quiet and whatnot. I thought they sold it really well.
Now people are mentioning Hit Row being together, Lashley and the Hurt Business. Well, this is a bit different because New Day has not been together as a collective unit until Big E won the title. Hurt Business just got back together. Hit Row has been together.
What's going on with Top Dollar? I heard there's like Twitter drama.
I don't know. I get along with Top Dollar on the Twitter machine.
I haven't seen, but apparently I heard.
Anakin says, weird, there's a New Day podcast with all three of them. Well, yeah. And sometimes RJ City. Brandon Charles Powell says, aren't the Mysterios on their way to breaking up anyway? Add that to the list. You can never assume. I mean,
we thought really break them up, though?
We thought that Shayna and Nia Jax were going to break up a year ago.
Yeah, and they did kind of multiple times.
Yeah. Get in your super chats, guys. We are headed down the home stretch. Goldberg wants to murder Bobby Lashley. And he's like straight up saying, I'm going to murder you. And because it's in Saudi Arabia, they won't do shit. That's what he's saying. I can get away with murder in Saudi Arabia, which has me thinking, don't tell Drew that. He's got a sword.
Okay. So like my pet peeve about this was that Bobby Lashley comes out and he starts talking about character assassination. And I'm like, why the hell are you talking about character assassination when Goldberg said that he legitimately wanted to kill you last week?
Buddy,
he said he'd be lucky if he got to kill you.
Goldberg's like, why are we talking about character assassination? I'm talking about human assassination. I will kill you, he said. And Arn Anderson pulling out the Glock and spilling brains. Deonna Purrazzo went to Mickey James's house to her farm, dressed exactly like her, and said, I'll fucking kill you, Mickey.
Well, we were talking about edgier content, Sean.
Sure were.
There you go. There you go. That's the edgy content, because tearing someone's eyeball out was not enough edge.
It wasn't. Oh, God.
I like this. I gotta say, I like it. I don't care that Goldberg says that he comes out here and wants to kill somebody. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. Like,
I don't give a damn
for the edgy stuff, man.
Occasionally, I'll have some people go, oh my God, are you offended by that? I'm not offended. I'm shocked after 10 years of being conditioned to, I don't like you very much. I'm going to whip your butt. Stuff like that.
Sean, you mean the word bitch does not get you every time?
Hold on. That's not how you're supposed to say it. Bitch.
I was going to tweet you. I was going to tweet you just bitch at John Ross Sapp, but I didn't think people were going to get it. So I didn't tweet it.
Dot.
That's what I was worried about. I was like, no one is going to get this, or like only a few people who are watching Raw are going to get this, and then like nobody else.
The only way I could have enjoyed that Deonna Purrazzo, Mickie James segment more is after Deonna Purrazzo beat her ass. As she walks off, she looks over her right shoulder and she says, bitch. Like, that's it. And
didn't they have Dewdrop do the bitch line too recently when she got the Dewdrop?
Back when murders were men, says Louise.
When men were men.
Go ahead, sorry.
Didn't Dewdrop she also did the bitch line recently too, right?
Yeah, she did.
During a backstage segment. It's like, you can't be doing it left and right, man. Like, it's not really an insult. Like, that's one of the things, like, for you as a guy, if a guy were to call you a bitch, is that an insult to you?
I guess, like, to me, like, I've seen people that are like, oh, it's sexist, and I guess it depends on how you see it. But like, I don't see it as like I'm calling somebody a bitchy female. It's just like one of those nonchalant things. It's been so desensitized.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what, like, it's not even, doesn't even feel like a real insult. That I don't think a guy would legitimately be, or like a real man. I don't think a real man would be all that, butthurt over someone calling him a bitch.
Did you see that Mickie Deonna segment?
I did. I saw it.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But like, my thing is like, what if Mickie would have won the fight? What happens after that? Like, Deonna just lay there unconscious on her property?
What are you trying to say? Does she dispose of her body?
Yeah, does he dispose? Does like Nick Aldis drive up from buying orange juice and eggs and be like, well, I guess we got to deal with this, man.
I don't know what kind of murder brain you've got, but my brain did not go there, okay?
I watched so much Investigation Discovery. It's like, I watched so much of it. And like, a camera crew was there, so they would... Well, this stuff is admissible in court, Denise.
Every time I watch those shows, they're always all the crimes, all the murders, all the like, this person vanished. They all happen in small towns, okay?
Oh, no way.
Yes,
so many of them happen.
That I watch, they're always like in a small town and so and so.
That's because there's like Heart of Murder and Murder in the
like
Midwest,
all the shows, and I'm like, hell no, like this is not gonna fly.
So much of the Investigation Discovery stuff is in Pinellas County, Florida, because Miami doesn't give a damn and Florida's crazy. But I don't know. William Minor says, can the Demon get drafted to SmackDown?
Hold on. Now I'm even more mad, because think about it. We have people threatening to kill each other. We have all of these, crazy things happening, right? Yeah. And the Demon loses because the ropes fell.
Damn.
Let's put that in perspective for a second.
It's not wrong. Orlando Orrego says Top Dollar got in trouble on Twitter because he said that other faction couldn't cut it on the main roster.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Which other faction?
No, he was just saying, he said something along the lines of like, don't be talking about like what you don't know, because the reason we got called up is because like basically saying like, I don't know, that they're better or something. I don't know if it was in like character or not character or what. I don't know.
I just don't know what stable he was talking about, because there have been so many failed stables on it. Just, yeah.
I have to go see the thread.
PolarX92 says, thoughts on Sheamus potentially going after the IC belt and becoming a Grand Slam champion. I hope he wins it. He deserves it. I don't see any reason he can't. I think he and Nakamura would have a hell of a match. Hell of a match.
Immediately. Okay. That was one of the things that I thought of.
Guys, now the fact that this is the response, Retribution, Undisputed Era, Legado del Fantasma, Sanity, means that nobody seems to have any idea. So there you go. Cyclops says all Tony D'Angelo does is incriminate himself
and his family. And his family.
He's out there telling. Like, even Denise isn't a snitch. We had somebody mad at me on Twitter one day and went to Denise, and she's like, why are you telling me? Stop being a little snitch.
A lot of people snitch on you. I don't like snitches, all right? I don't like no rats.
Get a hobby, man. Get a hobby, man. So Makovsky says, if Goldberg wants to do that to Bobby, should hit up Arn Anderson. And God of Tongue says, speaking of not getting title matches, isn't Lashley owed a tag title match for winning the 2-hour turmoil? Give it to Shelton and Cedric. They got to make sense of that eventually. Oof. They got to make sense of that eventually.
I didn't remember that. I feel like that was 50 years ago. in Raw time. That was like 50 years ago, Sean.
Yep. But we had New Day versus who the hell did they face? Because our notes have a million different things. Cedric and Shelton, was it?
Yeah. Wait, why am I blanking out? Sorry.
Yeah, I was blanking out because
I think I'd be better. I didn't take any notes this time. Where is my brain?
Same here. It's been a long weekend.
Sean, we've reviewed this show. This is terribly embarrassing.
I know. It's just that this is another one of those shows so much shit happened because of the draft. So I'm like, my God, who did they face? Like, and New Day beat Cedric and Shelton, who just reunited.
Yeah, Cedric and Shelton. I don't even remember much of this, to be honest.
They beat them very quickly, and Street Profits came out.
All I remember from this is Xavier Woods yelling "Crown me" after they won the match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about the match. It was very quick. Cedric did scream out "Crown me," which is cool. But Street Profits came out after that, and like Cedric and Shelton, 1 week after, or a couple weeks after the Hurt Business is back, afterthought. That's frustrating.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Cedric and Shelton are like afterthoughts already.
Yeah, they've been afterthoughts though. That's the unfortunate
part.
By
the way,
like
they were also involved in the Goldberg thing because Lashley was like, "How would you react if somebody jumped on your back?" And they jumped on Goldberg's back.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Now I'm remembering everything. Okay, so that's the problem though. Okay, so I did like that setup though. The way that Bobby Lashley set up, how would you like it if someone jumped on your back? And I think he said it like 2 or 3 times, and then eventually you got the attack on him. I did really like how he set that up. So that was good and all of that. The only thing that I do want to get at here though is that when the Hurt Business got brought together, I feel part of the reason why it was kind of an exciting thing was because when they were broken up, what did they do with them? Absolutely nothing. So it's one of those things where it's like I'm not going to say they needed each other because I don't really think Bobby Lashley necessarily needed the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
Cedric and Shelton, but they needed him though. And that's the problem though. Like, there you go. Another team that could be utilized more as a stronger tag team, but was again essentially put on the back burner where they weren't doing something with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, and maybe we'll finally get Mia Yim versus Shelton Benjamin after all these years, after all their years of Twitter feuds. Street Profits came out. This is their way of saying, hey, the Street Profits are on Raw. That's fine. Also, a thing that I overlooked earlier, one of the best lines of the night was Bobby Roode calling himself Big Bob, and Big E is like, nobody calls you Big Bob.
I forgot about that. Oh my God. I was dying about that the entire match because they had Big Bob and then they had Drew McIntyre as Big D. I was dying over that. And every time.
Did you ever see when I asked Big E what Kevin Owens' New Day name would be? Do you remember when Kevin Owens joined New Day for like a week in Big E's spot, and they called him Big O? And I was like, well, if you were Big E Langston and he's Big O, is he Big O Wangston?
I have no comment, Sean. This is not my comedy.
Xavier for King of the Ring.
Big O Wangston.
Big O Wangston.
It's not funny.
It's very funny.
It's like boy funny.
I almost broke Big E. Like that clip. It was a good one. That's probably the most proud I've been of myself. Like I had this just
your entire career. Big O Langston was the one that did it for you.
I didn't even get him to laugh. Just almost getting him to laugh. Getting Big E to be like, that was the highlight.
Sean, I have no comment. This falls along the lines of Bofa. Remember when you tried Bofa? You tried to make Bofa a thing.
I didn't try to make Bofa.
You were trying to make it a thing on here.
No.
We can't coexist. We're not on the same page here.
Omar says, Denise, will you break up with SRS? Well, I don't know what that means.
Because he's sick and tired of me being on the show, being muted.
Cliffbeard says, Swerve is a North American champion with no title defenses. Does he now drop it to Santos in his first title defense? Yeah, I would say so, Denise.
Bro, I still can't believe he hasn't even had a match. And he didn't even have his match against Santos Escobar. It was right there.
You mentioned it, like he won it in June. It's October. And by the way, the last North American champion didn't defend it successfully in a singles match either. Johnny Gargano is the last person. Bronson Reed
did.
He defended it in the 6-man with MSK. No one-on-one singles wins.
They never did Bronson and Escobar either, or did they?
I think it was like maybe a triple threat or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe.
Damn.
That's just Mario says, somebody please be my Thunder buddy. Get in your super chats.
Bro, for reals, man. Like, it's pretty loud out there. I'm not used to this. I'm a little scared. I'll be honest with you. I don't do well in these circumstances.
We got storms all the time out here.
Yeah, Sean, but I live in Los Angeles. We're known for great weather. This is
Beard
like
says, here's a sad thought from the first NXT War Games match, including the ref, commentators, ring announcer. Only 3 people are left in WWE. That is very sad. Probable Cause says, Kofi versus Mia, $20 ladder match, or did Mia pay Kofi? You'll have to smarten me up to that one. I'm not that sure about that. But we had the main event, and that's because Becky Lynch came out. She announced herself as the first draft pick for Raw. She's joined by Charlotte Flair. And then they are interrupted by Bianca Belair. And Bianca says, Charlotte, you don't go here anymore. And they set up a match for tonight. And I knew it was going to happen, Denise, because it's like, man, they're hot-shotting a match that you could argue in the future main events a night of WrestleMania. I don't think anybody would be shocked if Bianca Belair, Charlotte main events a night of WrestleMania. But you know, WWE, it didn't happen if it ends in a DQ. This outstanding display of athleticism. Becky on commentary. Becky is so good off the cuff on commentary. You could argue that it was distracting from the match an awful lot, but that's kind of the point of her being a heel. But it ends in a freaking DQ.
And I should have seen it coming. For some reason, I didn't see it coming. I should have known. The second they had Becky on commentary, I should have known that this match was going to end in a DQ. But for some reason, in my foolish mind, I thought, all right, cool. We're going to get a nice little competitive match. I didn't really have an issue with them hot-shotting this match. And the only reason for that is that they need stuff like this. This is what I mean by they need more stories, more stars, more people, because we just can't keep having a bunch of matches that we don't really care about. And that's the problem right now. There aren't making enough people for you to actually care about on the roster. So the matches that are supposed to be on bigger stages, on bigger platforms, are having to be used here because they don't have anything else. And I'm like, well, what can you do? So I didn't necessarily hate that they hot-shotted this match. What I did not love was that we got like a very nice, 10 plus or so minute match between these two ladies that ended in a DQ, because it just takes away from everything that the reason that I'm watching, it takes away the interest and it makes me feel like it doesn't really mean anything. So it kind of fooled me there.
The reference to Mia Yim is where I see this tweet now. New Day versus Hurt Business. Which one want to take my $20 to take out Shelton? Mia and Shelton have had an online feud for like 15 years. KE775 says, any update on Scarlett? Feels like Cross needs her badly. I do not have an update on Scarlett. I'm trying to find out. Sean says the best part of Raw was Becky constantly slapping down on Saxton. That's good stuff. He's such an easy target.
Everybody was slapped. There was one part where he was like saying like, oh, we haven't seen Alexa Bliss in a long time. And they're like, oh, it's been 1 week, Saxton.
Yeah. As far as Charlotte and Bianca, the match, like I feel like we've gotten away from some match analysis over the last few weeks because we've had so many different like things happening. I thought they had really good chemistry. It'll get a lot better when they can work live events together. I actually liked that the KOD was different. Like it was a seated attitude adjustment almost. Not quite like the Thunder Rosa finish. It was the KOD, but Charlotte landed on her back. And then they got all that. Guys, we are not going to read super chats about things that are legal allegations or anything like that, because we have, we are media and we cannot read shit like that with just, arbitrarily. We've got to be a little bit more careful. So if you send your super chat in that with like things like that, accusing people of things that they weren't convicted of, we can't read that on the air. That's just not something we're allowed to do legally. Rob says, I mentioned this last week. I know Denise said she didn't want this to happen. I manifested it. Sasha got separated from Becky and Bianca. Sorry, Denise. I'll stay quiet next time. I legitimately don't quite know how the rosters all look. I'm going to, once I sort them out on Fightful in our resources section, I'll take a long look at it. But it's still hard for me, especially because everybody's still in the same damn shows. Everybody's hopping back and forth.
No, that Raw roster is looking a little stronger. I like taking a second glance at it. It's definitely looking a little bit more versatile. Like they can definitely have some good stories there. SmackDown right now, it to me, it's looking like it's taking a shift in a different direction.
Wrestle Riot says, can't wait to see a new batch of Raw rematches.
That's what we called for like a while. It's bound to happen.
Cliff Beard says, Mia got drafted to SmackDown last year and she didn't even wrestle one match. No, she did not get drafted to SmackDown. That's not what happened. She and Retribution got drafted to Raw. Then she didn't wrestle at all in 2021. She quietly got drafted, or not drafted, sent to SmackDown internally. Externally, as far as the rosters, the public rosters goes, they don't move people. They never moved her on WWE.com or anything like that. She never appeared there. It was just internal stuff. We got a bunch more super chats. Intangible one, actually, Norm Summers says, are we to believe they start a show with no main event? They then realize they booked themselves into a corner and we get to a good old no finish. The match was fine, but I saw Becky interference a mile away. We aren't necessarily to believe that, but I mean, I understand it, but they could theoretically say the women's tag title match was going to be the main event. We moved it to accommodate this. That's one of those things that I'm willing to overlook, Denise. I know a lot of people have that problem. They're like, they didn't go into the show with the main event. I don't mind that much.
That's never been an issue for me because to me, it's just all part of the show. And that's never been an issue with me.
Aisling says, or Ashley says, do you think they'll add Charlotte to the triple threat match at Crown Jewel? Sure hope not.
I
think they will.
I think I was going to first say it didn't make sense, but after tonight, it would make sense to do that.
Yeah, I think they will. So after this match, Sasha comes out, lays a beat down as well. I mean, I'm cool with her being involved. Omar says, if Sasha wins, who will defeat Flair?
Who else is there?
Again, I got to look at the full rosters. Alicia says, do you think Becky will have both belts again? Bad idea.
For Becky to have both belts, I agree. I just, for me, I'll be honest, I'm not crazy about this Becky Lynch heel character. It hasn't been working for me, and I've been trying really hard to get into it, but I have not.
It's not doing it for me either. Leave a thumbs up on this video, guys. Christian Knight says Denise has better dribbling than Denise. Dennis Rodman. What? He said that Dennis Rodman is better at dribbling than Denise.
Oh, I thought he said it the opposite way. I was like, what?
No, I think I may have read that wrong. Jojo says, hi, Sean and Denise.
Dennis.
He says, hi, Sean and Denise. I like Becky, but her commentary was not it. She ruined the match for me. She was trying too hard to sound like a heel, forced. She does have the same tone all the time.
Oh.
Like it is very much like a forced heel thing. She's very quick-witted.
Yes, that's good.
Forced.
It's good, but I almost feel like she's not talking naturally because she's trying really hard to convince you that she's a heel versus it coming across as something natural, as her as a natural heel. That's not when it's not coming across that way. It does feel very forced, which is why I personally am not into it. I do like her quick, one-liners, but it's not connecting for me. And it really has taken a lot of my interest away from that. And I kind of feel bad because for a long time, it was kind of like, oh, when Becky gets back, the women's division is going to get better. Okay, well, now she's back and it has improved. We're getting we're getting an awesome match at Crown Jewel, which I'm looking forward to seeing that match. But it's like, man, it feels so against the grind with what they were doing.
We've got Cyclops is better than Wolverine saying Becky's starting to go away. Heat for me. I hate DQs. Yeah, I don't like it. Makes it feel like a waste of time. It's just, it is very annoying, but I mean, that's them booking it. Nerd Guru says, if Charlotte's in the triple threat, who do you give the belts to? Charlotte to break the record because, of course, yuck. I'll say Sasha, I guess. Yeah, if it's a match like that, it's got to be winner take all, I think, but
it doesn't make sense. I think they should keep it a triple threat and just have Sasha win.
Me too.
Seems like the easiest way out.
Maybe have Charlotte involved. Like
have
she
her
takes
cost the match.
Have her cost Bianca or who? She's on SmackDown, right?
Charlotte's she's on SmackDown.
Shit. Ugh, what a mess. What a mess.
You know what? Screw it. Just swap the belts. That's it. I give up.
Now you see
That's
why they do
it. It's just going to have to be done. There's no way out.
I got to take a look at it. Res Dog says, was it just me or was this a copy paste show right down to the main event shenanigans? So many of their shows seems like it. Oh, I like this. Yeah, and it is a copy and paste show because we saw a bunch of rematches. New Day Hurt Business, we've seen it a friggin' million times.
Is there a way to get the Raw title on Alexa Bliss somehow?
Probably.
She's really the only option that I'm seeing here.
Christian Knight says, can we get an SRS Denise one-on-one basketball game for the next time you guys see each other at a pay-per-view? We'll do that. We will do that.
You know what? At least I didn't lose track of the ball, all right? You notice I had very focused attention.
We should do the Shawn versus Denise Olympics. I mean, I always pitch skits and they never happen, but
that's because you pitch the ideas and I say, okay, cool, let me know when.
Yeah,
and then you never message me back. So I'm like, well, then you know what, Shawn? Well, what am I supposed to do? Follow you around?
Let's mute Denise. Matt James says, what if Becky keeps the title? So at Survivor Series, we get Becky versus Charlotte, possibly unifying the titles. What if it could happen? The match would be really good. They've had some of the best matches in WWE history. Denise, I don't want to see those titles unified.
What, the Raw and SmackDown women's titles?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about? No, I don't want to see them unified either. I don't think they should. I like them being separated. It's just a matter of building up more women. That's all they need to do.
Rob says, I want them to keep Charlotte and Sasha stay away from each other until at least Mania season, but part of me feels like WWE can't help themselves. My ideal situation, Denise, is the idea of Charlotte or Becky, one or the other, has a title. We get a double finish in the Royal Rumble with two of the other ones. We've got three of the horsewomen there. And then like maybe the week before Mania, Bayley pops back up. And she was like, I'm here. I was owed a title shot before I got hurt. I want my title shot now. You do the four horsewomen. You main event a night of WrestleMania with the four horsewomen. And I think you do it now because it's going to be real hard in the future to not have Bianca Belair in that conversation with every single one of those women.
Heel Bayley, babyface Bayley, what are we looking at?
Whatever gets all four of them in the main event of a night of WrestleMania.
Yeah, because no matter what, when Bayley returns, she's going to get a nice reaction. So they do have something there.
Stellar Justin Lopez, who came and watched the Bengals win with me last week, said, I think Raw made out the best in the draft, but it won't matter who's booking. Well, I don't know who's making out with each other in the draft, Denise. Sounds kind of personal.
What?
Avery Duncan says, I've always thought they should draft all four of the horsewomen to one brand and have new women build on the other.
I think that would be a good idea, but I don't think we're seeing that.
I think we see too much of that as like they're the four pillars. They really are the four pillars, and they always will be.
I don't mind it, honestly. I think
I would love it.
I like having that.
I like the idea of it, but Jason PS3 says Bianca could beat Charlotte for the Raw title. Yes, she could in that amount of time. Yes, she absolutely could. Mario Morales says, when will AEW women get a shot at the NWA women tag belts? Whenever NWA asks for a favor and Tony Khan's willing to pay them to appear on NWA, because NWA probably ain't going to pay him. Alicia Ellis says, if the women's title weren't brand specific, what would you like them to be called? The WWE and the women's universal titles. Makes a lot of sense to me. Put them on an even plane, Denise.
Yep, I agree.
Nerd Guru says, I think when Bayley's healthy, she goes to Raw. I've always said if you're going to split the horsewomen, do it in twos. Bayley versus Becky is money. Oh, it sure is. The promos there would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, especially because Bayley's been doing some of her best work on the mic in recent years. So yeah, that would be something cool to see.
And Nerd Guru wraps this up and says, this show is a snooze. Becky deserves better than the women drafted to Raw. She should be getting Roman Reigns level booking, nothing less. I don't disagree with that, but you could argue that she is, as far as in ring. She's being very, very protected. But as far as creatively, the promos, this creative, it ain't there for me, Denise.
Dude, she got the bout, and like, how long was that match again between her and Bianca? I think Becky's fine. I think she's got what she's got.
Guys, we have plenty of other projects for you guys to check out. Twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. We have FightfulMag.com, the newest edition of Fightful Magazine. We got shop.fightful.com, but our bread and butter is FightfulSelect.com. The draft news does not stop. I'm going to find out who knew where they were going, when they knew, who made the calls. I'm going to find out about who wasn't even listed in draft pools. I'm going to put some stuff up on Fightful Select about some notable people who were not in there that maybe have been on the rosters. Keep it locked to FightfulSelect.com. And that's not all. We've got 7 weekly shows over there. Today, I dropped the Backstage Report podcast. That's 20 minutes of just exclusive news over there at FightfulSelect.com. I do a Q&A there every week. And if you want a more sour review, Alex Palowski has you covered. But this weekend, we're going to be doing like 2 streams simultaneously. We've got the Wilder Fury Fight Night watch along, and then Denise and Kate will be here.
Ooh, the girls versus the boys. Hell yeah.
I know, right? You all will do way better numbers than we will that night.
Hell yeah.
John Vasquez says, what's the point of creating a strong women's division when the titles are decided between 4 women in the recent years? That's not necessarily true. I mean, in recent years, Carmella's been champion, Naomi's been champion, Alexa Bliss has been champion, Asuka has been champion, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, like a lot of women have been champion.
But they never got to the level that they did. They never got to that level though.
Correct. Well, what the hell do you have going on, Denise?
Well, Twitter and Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. Make sure to follow me there. Follow me on TikTok at _Denise Salcedo. YouTube, Denise Salcedo. Seriously, go follow all those places. I'm like literally working on content every single day, and just like any support that you guys can offer really, really just helps out. So yeah, just go everywhere, whatever your favorite social media app is.
Robert D. Felice, who writes for Fightful, has just mentioned this on Twitter. If you thought they were going to make Karrion Kross the king, I don't think the initials King Karrion Kross work out too well.
No,
so that's
I didn't
probably
even think about that. No,
that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
But how do you know they're gonna think of that? I didn't think of that. What if they don't think of that, Sean?
Josh, oh no.
What if they don't think about it?
They gotta think about it. WWE people watch this show, so they've thought about it now. That's a fair. Oh no, Josh Baker said after their appearance on The Distraction, I checked out the Grapsody pod this weekend and it ruled. Instant fan. Check them out every Saturday at noon. We appreciate you guys. Leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. It helps. Most importantly, do me a favor, guys. Share this podcast on Twitter, on Facebook especially. We don't have a great foothold on Facebook, so help us out. We're on podcast platforms everywhere. We're out.